Believe it or not, many people globally, especially Americans, start their day with a bowl of cornflakes, no matter what the brand is. Of course, people feast on eggs, bacon, juices, butter, etc., but you'll find several people preparing a bowl full of cornflakes alongside their usual breakfast. Who knows, you might be one of them too. However, did you know that several rumors have surfaced on social media about cornflakes being invented to prevent masturbation? Sounds odd, right? Well, I was kind of surprised too, but hey, I'm here to set the rumors aside and tell you the real story behind the invention of cornflakes and its possible connection with masturbation. So hello everyone, I hope you're well and excited to know the true story about cornflakes, but before I get started, be sure to subscribe and turn on push notifications so that you never miss out on whatever crazy, wacky video I'm spinning up with answers to questions you probably didn't even know that you had. Alright, let's start this with the question of the day. Were cornflakes invented to prevent masturbation? The truth may, however, kind of surprise you though, because you see, cornflakes were the result of a careless incident. Yeah, that's right. You see, Dr. John Kellogg's, along with his younger brother Will Kellogg's, worked at a sanatorium, it's a fancy word for an infirmary, during the early 19th century, and that's where there were widespread complaints about indigestion, dyspepsia, constipation, flatulence, and diarrhea. Now, Dr. Kellogg's understood that the main culprit behind the indigestion was problematic breakfasts. People at the time used to feast on starchy fried potatoes and heavily salted meals. Some would eat an utterly meatless meal consisting of tea, cocoa, and coffee. And that's why Dr. Kellogg was motivated to create a grain-based meal that was easy to digest. However, the invention of cornflakes was genuinely spontaneous and a result of basically a complete accident. So what happened was, Dr. Kellogg was boiling wheat and making dough in a sanatorium in 1894. However, he left the wheat standing for plenty of hours, and upon his return, the wheat had softened and it basically couldn't form into a dough. But that didn't really stop Dr. Kellogg, so he continued rolling the dough and witnessed individual wheat berries producing wide, flat flakes. Kellogg's decided to bake these dried flakes, and the result was a crisp cereal product, which ultimately became cornflakes. So yeah, that's essentially how cornflakes were initially invented. But let's move on to the rumors that portray cornflakes as this anti-masturbatory morning meal. So this news originated when a 2012 article described cornflakes as a healthy, ready-to-eat, anti-masturbatory morning meal. Several other sources created an image that Kellogg's produced these cereal products to prevent masturbation. However, as you know, cornflakes were invented accidentally and were further marketed or advertised as a regular healthy meal back when they were initially created in the late 1800s. In fact, it was Will Kellogg who later founded Kellogg's Cereal Company and marketed the product as nutritious, easily digestible, and a healthy diet. Not only that, but the marketing campaign also highlighted that these flakes were flavorful, crispy, and perfect for a sweet tooth. But you know what? Will and John Kellogg's, obviously, fought over this product since Will wanted to sweeten the cereal and reach a wider audience, while on the other hand, John, who originally invented the cornflakes, wanted the cereal to remain plain as it was originally intended. But why did he want that? I'll get to that in a minute. But here's another quick fact for you. Dr. Kellogg's highlighted in the patent's application that these flakes were suitable for more sick and convalescent patients. So you see, cornflakes basically don't have a direct role in dampening sexual urges and preventing masturbation. It's just a bland, plain diet. So you might be wondering then, why did the rumor surface even though there's no relationship between cornflakes and masturbation? Well, it might be partly due to John Kellogg's beliefs, lifestyle, and kind of odd practices. This is where things get kind of interesting. So before I get started with John Kellogg's life, let me give you a quick, brief history educational course about masturbation. Basically, this is important to understand. It was the time when the Great Awakenings and several other religious festivals in America created an uproar about this alternative ejaculation practice and caused the citizens to get obsessed with it. However, the idea was considered taboo, and even in the 19th century, several stories and folktales even criticized the act, describing it as an immoral and mental disease. And so if you're wondering how that's connected to John Kellogg's, well, John was a devout 7-day Adventist, a zany religion of that time that promoted a strict vegan diet and was consistent with the church's teachings. Plus, John became a doctor after the founders of his religion, Ellen and James White, helped him with funding his medical studies. However, this Michigan doctor was the loudest protester of this practice. He was basically the face of it. So, simply put, Kellogg's hated basically anything related to sex and encouraged strict abstinence from sex. But why? He considered sex and masturbation detrimental to health, emotions, and basically spiritual well-being. And you know what? This may sound surprising, but he never actually consummated his marriage. That's right, the inventor of Kellogg's cornflakes never had sexual relations with his wife. He actually slept in a different room than his wife, quite literally, and adopted his kids. So yes, he was a staunch supporter of celibacy, and it looks like he also spent his honeymoon working on one of his anti-sex books. He also wrote one book titled Plain Facts for Old and Young, Embracing the Natural History and Hygiene of Organic Life. So Kellogg's dedicated an entire chapter in this book to masturbation, describing it as self-pollution of one's personality or the most dangerous of all sexual abuses. John listed almost 29 things in that book that could occur if you touch and play with yourself, including mood swings, acne, bad posture, epilepsy, stiff joints, and honestly, the list goes on. So now we kind of come to the interesting part. John believed that there was a strong direct link between food and drink choices and sexual urges. In fact, he even listed the following recommendations to let go of this practice, and as you might guess, they were all related to diet. There was avoiding overeating, eating twice a day, avoiding stimulating drinks such as wine, beer, or coffee, not eating stimulating foods full of spices and peppers, and eating a bland and plain diet. So, as you can see, he was totally against sex and considered masturbation an abominable sin. Moved by the belief that diet played an important role in stopping masturbation, he waged war upon himself and decided to deprive himself of the enjoyment. Furthermore, the patients in his hospital led a dreadful life. After all, they were completely deprived of meat, alcohol, tea, coffee, and tobacco, all because Kellogg's belief of eradicating masturbation. And as a result of his beliefs, John started to create foods that would help reduce sexual temptations. And so that's precisely where the link between cornflakes and masturbation came about. And even before cornflakes, honestly, John created a simple breakfast product out of oats and corn and called that granola. And here's another invention, an enema machine to clean out one's intestines. Again, created by Dr. Kellogg's. It's basically a machine that ran water through the bowel with a yogurt pint, half through the mouth and half through the anus, and the ridiculous, unusual, and extreme method never really caught on, unsurprisingly, and it was a total flop. But let's quickly jump back to cornflakes. That's what we're here for. So Will Kellogg's, his younger brother, went further ahead and added sweeteners into the cereal, into that Kellogg's cereal, and that is a move that basically created a real rift between the brothers for years. Will was business-minded, so he made fortunes by selling the new cereal. On the other hand, John wanted the product to remain original and unsweetened. After all, it was his dream to create plain, bland food, and adding sweeteners to cornflakes was going against his beliefs. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about the connection between Kellogg's cornflakes and masturbation. So long story short, there's no actual evidence that exists between cornflakes and masturbation prevention. It was really only invented as a simple bland breakfast meal, and only later on did people start rumoring that it had these anti-masturbatory contexts behind the cereal's invention. Although the extreme yet absurd beliefs of Dr. John Kellogg make it believable that cornflakes were yet another invention for curbing masturbation, still he never advertised the cereal for that actual purpose. So that's it for this video, but on a completely random side note, if you've ever looked up at the sky and wondered why it's blue, I mean, sure, you probably learned about it at some point back in grade school, but do you actually remember what your teacher told you about that? And what happens now if you find yourself at a party with intellectuals who do know why the sky is blue and you're the odd one out in the room? Well, save yourself the embarrassment, because right now on your screen you can go and watch my next video where I explain exactly why the sky is blue. Don't think about it, just click it. No hesitation here, just get it done, click the next video, and I'll see you there.